Hi there, Malcolm here with my 391st Booktube video, and today I'll be bringing you a review for Reliquary by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child, book 2 of the Pendergast series, and the direct sequel to The Relic. I know that because it says it on the front cover there. The Relic was a great atmospheric monster in a museum story that was turned into a rather generic monster movie. It's okay, but when I heard there was a sequel to it, I thought, well, I've got to get hold of that. I had it for a while and finally got round to reading it. Set in New York, and bodies have started turning up without their heads in a similar way that they did with the original monster at New York's Natural History Museum, and there's fears that there's another monster on the loose, which doesn't make a huge lot of sense, but there's an investigation that needs to take place, and as the investigation uncovers certain truths, it becomes clear that one of the survivors of the events of the first book has been up to something very ill-advised. But now reading this, I thought, hang on, I know this, why do I know this? Had to jump back to The Relic, and in the epilogue there, that actually mentions about the burgeoning machinations of this character and their plans with this particular leaf. I was like, ah yes. And so a lot of the spoilers in this book feature as the epilogue of the first book, resulting in Reliquary being aliens to The Relic being alien. Except New York is the setting rather than the claustrophobic setting of the museum, although in particular the underground tunnels and sub-basements and sub-tunnels of New York. So it does get a little bit claustrophobic because of that. And of course these underground places already have occupants, and the story does try to shed an even light on the homeless community to be found there. And like with any community, you know, there are heroes, there are villains, and various strata of people in between. They're not all painted in the same brush. But of course it does pick up on the surface dwellers' attitudes towards these individuals and how they're treated and how they're addressed and all the rest of it. And one could argue that the main thrust of the story and the tension of the story is a little bit lost in the not quite so subtle messages about how the homeless are treated, how they are overlooked time and time again. Well, one of the bodies found right at the beginning of the book belonged to, I suppose we call her an influencer these days. This was released in 1998, before influencing was really a thing. She would have been an influencer, and everything is put into place to try and find out what happened to her. However, dozens of homeless people have been murdered in the same sort of way, and nary a leaf has been disturbed in the quest to resolve those murders. As we have the return of a lot of the characters from the first books, we have Lieutenant Vincent D'Agosta of the police force, who was pivotal in helping a lot of the museum guests survive the events of the first book. Museum curator Margot Green is back, helping with the investigations, as well as her now retired mentor, Professor Frock, who interestingly was bumped off in the film. And of course FBI agent Pendergast himself, with his weird sort of James Bond / Sherlock Holmes persona about him. Indeed, when he first turns up, 100 and so pages in the book, he's disguised as a homeless person and behaving like one in a means to see how convincing his disguise is, which I thought was very Sherlock Holmes-esque. Yeah, so there's a murder mystery: who killed this influencer, who was the other body found alongside her. I say body, the skeletons at this point. And other monsters running around. Are they the children of the original monster, or something else going on? Lots of running around in very dark, sludgy, smelly places. And my main complaint with the first book was that, apart from the beginning section and the ending section, which was really exciting, there's a whole lot in the middle that doesn't really have anything happen. It's all the investigating stuff. The same with this one. You have the intrigue of the discovering of the skeletons at the beginning, and the action-packed excitement at the end. Unfortunately, the whole chunk in the middle, again, where they're just trying to work out what's going on and investigating and all the rest of it. And there is a very exciting scene with a subway train, which was very reminiscent of Predator 2. But one could argue that this book, at 512 pages, is unnecessarily long for what it is. However, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed following these characters again, and the final act was really exciting and thrilling. The big reveal, I thought, was a bit out of left field. I suppose there were hints along the way, but I don't know, I just went, really? But apart from that, a solid read, worth buying. Not as good as the first one. I did like The Relic a lot, but as a sequel it didn't feel unnecessary. It did sort of conclude the chapter in a nice way. If it is indeed concluded, I don't know. I'll have to pick up book 3 and find out what Agent Pendergast gets up to next. Yes, I've got 3 other books in the series, but they're all way down the line. So have you read Reliquary or The Relic? Or what's your favourite Pendergast book, if you have read any of those? Or what's your favourite crime thriller which has that little dose of X-Files paranormal-esque flavouring. Comment down below, please, but as usual, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and other YouTube things. And if you want, and until next time, see you later.